All right, welcome to the deep dive, everybody. We're diving into something pretty big today, huh?
Yeah, definitely a big one. Feeling a little overwhelmed with all the AI news lately. I get it.
It's tough to keep up. That's why we're here, though, right? To cut through the noise and give you the stuff that actually matters. Today, we're going deep on Meta's brand new Llama 4 AI models.
That's right. We're going to unpack what they are, why they're a big deal, and what it all means for you.
No fluff, just the insights you need. So before we really get into it, what are the big takeaways? What do people absolutely need to know about Llama 4?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that Llama 4 is a major step forward in what they're calling natively multimodal AI.
Natively multimodal. That sounds pretty jargony. We'll have to break that down.
We will. Basically, it means AI that understands both text and images right from the start. Not as separate things, but as part of the same fundamental understanding.
Okay, interesting. What else is crucial here?
Another big one is that these models are incredibly efficient. They can do more with less computing power, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, efficiency seems to be a big theme in AI these days.
Definitely. And then, because they are natively multimodal, Llama 4 opens up all sorts of new possibilities for how AI can interact with and understand the world.
I'm really curious to see where that goes.
Me too. And of course, Meta is sticking with their commitment to open source AI with Llama 4, which means more people can use it, build on it, and push the boundaries of what's possible.
Right, open source has been huge for the AI community.
Totally. And then the last big takeaway, and this was pretty mind-blowing, is the sheer scale of Llama 4 Scout's memory. It has a 10 million token context window.
10 million, did I hear that right? That's massive.
It is. It means the AI can remember and understand information from thousands of pages of text in a single interaction. That's not just a little better, it's a complete game changer for what AI can do.
Okay, so to back up a bit, Meta is calling Llama 4 a new era of natively multimodal AI innovation. They've released 3 models, Llama 4 Scout, Llama 4 Maverick, and then we have this sneak peek at Llama 4 Behemoth.
Exactly. And the big thing here is that these models aren't just about making existing AI a little better or a little faster. They're designed from the ground up to deliver more personalized experiences by understanding different types of data together. Like I said, text, images, video, all as part of one big picture.
And they're doubling down on their open source approach with this release, which, as we said, has huge implications for how AI develops.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into the specifics of these models, starting with Llama 4 Scout. It has, what was it, 17 billion active parameters.
Right, 17 billion active parameters, but a total of 109 billion parameters overall when you include all the expert components.
And this thing can run on a single NVIDIA H100 GPU. Isn't that like super powerful for just one chip?
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. To have a model this capable running on a single H100 really speaks to its efficiency. But honestly, the biggest story with Scout is that 10 million token context window we talked about.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a massive leap forward from Llama 3.
Which had a context window of, what was it?
128,000 tokens. So Scout is like 80 times bigger in terms of how much it can hold in its memory.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. Think of it this way. Before, AI was kind of like having a goldfish memory. It could only remember small snippets of information. But now, with Scout, it's like having this vast encyclopedia in its head. It can remember entire conversations, huge documents, even years' worth of your work history, all at once.
That's going to change what we can even ask AI to do.
Completely. And what's really interesting is that even though it's not the biggest model out there, it's actually beating models like Gemma 3 and Mistral 3.1 on a bunch of benchmarks.
Benchmarks.
Yeah, they're basically like standardized tests for AI. And Scout is scoring higher on tasks like complex reasoning, which suggests that it's genuinely smarter in those areas.
And Meta is saying it's the best in its class for understanding both images and text.
That's what their analysis shows. And the benchmark results seem to back it up. It really shows that you don't always need the absolute biggest model to get the best performance, especially if you're clever about how you design it.
So size isn't everything, it's how you use it.
Exactly.
All right, next up we have Llama 4 Maverick. 17 billion active parameters again, but a whopping 400 billion total parameters with 128 experts. This one is going up against the big dogs, right? Like GPT-4o and Gemini 2.0 Flash.
Right. And Meta is claiming that Maverick is outperforming them on a lot of benchmarks. It's meant to be competitive with models twice its size, which again comes back to its efficiency.
Right.
Maverick is really designed for those more complex tasks like being a really good assistant or creating high-quality creative content.
And there was something about an experimental chat version of Maverick doing really well.
Yeah, I got an ELO score of 1417 on El Arena. That puts it right up there with some of the best conversational AI models out there.
That's impressive.
It is.
Okay, and then we have the beast of the bunch, Llama 4 Behemoth. This one is just a preview for now, with a mind-boggling 288 billion active parameters and almost 2 trillion total parameters. That sounds, well, it lives up to its name.
It really does. This model is operating on a completely different level. And Meta says it's beating models like GPT 4.5, Claude Sonnet 3.7, and Gemini 2.0 Pro on STEM benchmarks.
What are STEM benchmarks?
They basically test how good the AI is at solving complex math and science problems, like on things like the Math 500 and GPQA Diamond benchmarks.
So this is Meta's powerhouse model, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but it's not available for everyone to use yet.
Not yet. It's still being trained. But what's interesting is that they're using Behemoth as a kind of teacher for the smaller Llama 4 model.
A teach?
Yeah, through a process called co-distillation. It's basically like the big, powerful Behemoth model is sharing its knowledge and skills with the smaller models to make them even smarter and more efficient. We'll probably hear more about Behemoth at LlamaCon later this month.
Okay, so something that keeps coming up is this idea of active versus total parameters and these experts. That's all part of the mixture of experts architecture, right? MOHI.
That's right.
Can you break that down for us? Explain it in a way that makes sense.
Sure. Think of it like a team of specialists. Imagine you have a really complex project. Instead of having one person try to do everything, you'd have different experts for different parts of the project. Like you might have a financial expert, a marketing expert, a tech expert.
Right, you'd want the best person for the job.
Exactly. So in an MOE model, instead of having all the connections in the AI's brain activated for every single piece of information, only a small, relevant group of these experts is activated for any given task.
So it's like having a huge library, but the AI knows exactly which books to pull off the shelf for each question?
Exactly. Like with Llama 4 Maverick, it has 400 billion total parameters. But for any given input, it's only using about 17 billion active parameters, the ones that are best suited to handle that specific piece of information.
It's like having all that knowledge and expertise, but being smart enough to only tap into the parts you need at any given time.
Right.
So what are the big advantages of doing things this way? Why go with MOE?
Well, the biggest advantage is efficiency. It takes a lot less computing power to both train and run the model. So you can get better results with the same amount of resources, or even get the same results with less powerful hardware.
Which is huge in the AI world.
It is. It also means that the model can run faster and cheaper when it's actually being used. That's called inference. Like the fact that Llama 4 Maverick can run on a single NVIDIA H100 DGX host is a big deal.
So it's powerful, but it can still run on a relatively accessible piece of hardware.
Right.
So what does all this mean for, the average person? What's the real-world impact here?
Well, it means we're probably going to see more powerful AI being used in more places, maybe even on your phone or your laptop someday.
Wow. So AI that's not just stuck in the cloud, but actually running on our devices.
Potentially. And because it's more efficient, it could also mean cheaper and faster AI services for things like image recognition, language translation, all sorts of things.
So this idea of specialized systems, it reminds me of how the human brain works, right? With different parts of the brain responsible for different functions.
That's a great point. Actually, there's a lot of research suggesting that the brain uses multiple specialized systems, almost like experts, for different tasks. And then there's a kind of gating network that decides which experts to use based on the situation.
That's so fascinating. So Llama 4 isn't just smart about what it knows, but also about how it uses that knowledge, kind of like our own brains.
It is. It's really cool.
Okay, so we talked about MOE, but we also need to unpack this whole natively multimodal thing. What exactly is multimodal pre-training?
Well, think about how humans learn. We don't learn about words first and then learn about pictures separately. We experience the world through all our senses at the same time. We see a cat, we hear someone say cat, and our brains connect those things together.
It's all integrated.
Right, and that's what multimodal pre-training is trying to do with AI. It's about training the AI on different types of information, text, images, even video, all at the same time. So it learns to understand the relationships between those things from the very beginning.
So it's not just seeing a picture and reading some text about it, it's actually understanding how those things relate to each other on a much deeper level.
Exactly. And Llama 4 uses a technique called early fusion, which means that all this information is integrated very early on in the training process. So the AI develops this seamless understanding of how words and images and videos all fit together.
Okay, so how much data are we talking about here? How much did they use to train Llama for?
They used over 30 trillion tokens of data. That's more than twice as much as they used for Llama 3.
Wow. And it can process up to 48 images alongside text. It's a
Yeah.
lot to take in.
It is. And they've also made big improvements to their vision encoder, which is the part of the model that understands images. It's based on this technology called Meta, but they've specifically trained it to work even better with Llama.
So it's all about making sure the different parts of the model work together really well.
Right.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the real world? Why should people be paying attention to this? What are the big implications of Llama 4?
Well, first of all, we're talking about more powerful AI that can run on less powerful hardware. That means it's more accessible, potentially cheaper, and could lead to AI be used in more places and for more things.
And it's better at understanding images and text together, right?
Much better, which opens up all sorts of possibilities for how we can interact with AI. And then there's that incredible 10 million token context window in Llama 4 Scout. That could be revolutionary for tasks that involve processing huge amounts of information.
So things like summarizing long documents, analyzing years of customer feedback, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And then there's the multilingual support. Llama 4 was trained on data from 200 languages, so it's much better at understanding and generating text in different languages.
Which is increasingly important in today's world.
It is. And of course, because it's open source, anyone can use it, build on it, and adapt it to their own needs. That could lead to a huge explosion of new and innovative AI applications.
That's exciting. Meta themselves are already using Llama 4 to power AI across their platforms like WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and the web. So it's already having a real-world impact.
It is. And we could see it being used for all sorts of other things, like creating better tools for summarizing information from multiple sources, or analyzing huge data sets to create truly personalized experiences.
Like an AI assistant that actually understands your preferences and your history.
Exactly. It could also be used to help programmers write better code, translate languages more accurately, even create new forms of art and music.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
They are. And Meta is very clear that this Llama 4 release is just the beginning. They see it as the foundation for a whole ecosystem of AI models and applications.
So this is just the first step.
It is. They're putting a lot of faith in the idea that open source development is the best way to drive innovation in AI. They're literally saying openness drives innovation and is good for developers, good for Meta, and good for the world.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
It is, and it reflects this growing feeling within the AI community that we need to collaborate and share knowledge if we want to see the true potential of AI. Meta is actually having this big event called LlamaCon later this month, where they're going to share more about their research and their vision for the future of AI.
Are they focused on anything specific?
Yeah, they're really interested in building AI that can reason more like humans, have more natural conversations, and solve problems that they haven't been specifically trained on.
So AI that can think for itself and adapt to new situations.
Exactly. That's the holy grail.
It is. And for anyone listening who's thinking, I want to try this out, how can they get access to Llama 4?
Both Llama 4 Scout and Llama 4 Maverick are available right now. You can download them from llama.com or from Hugging Face.
Hugging Face.
Yeah, it's a website where people share AI models. It's pretty popular in the AI community.
Mm.
And Meta has mentioned that they have a lot of support from partners across the AI world. So there are already a bunch of companies and research groups that are integrating or supporting Llama.
That's great. It sounds like Llama 4 is already making waves.
It is.
Okay, so to wrap things up, Llama 4 is a big step forward in AI. It's more powerful, more efficient, and has a much deeper understanding of how the world works. We're talking about major advancements in processing power, a better understanding of text and images, incredible memory capabilities, and a strong commitment to open source development.
Absolutely. It has the potential to really change the AI landscape and bring more advanced AI to more people.
So as we finish up this deep dive, it really makes you wonder what the future holds for AI, right? With these incredibly powerful tools becoming more widely available, who knows what kind of amazing things people will create? It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
It really does. And that's a question for you, the listener. What do you think? What kind of future do you see for AI? What problems do you think it can help us solve? And what completely new things do you think we might be able to create with these tools?
It's an exciting time to be paying attention to AI.
It is.
So we hope this deep dive has given you a good overview of Llama 4 and its potential impact. You can find links to all the sources we talked about in the show notes, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Until next time.
See you then.